Today we're going to be swapping out the receiver in the garage. I currently have an Onkyo TX-SR607 audio-visual receiver installed here in the garage. I believe this is a 2000s era product, and like most Japanese products, it's of good quality. Sounds very good. It's an excellent receiver. Unfortunately, these do have a design flaw, which I was told about. There's a particular chip, I forget which one it is. I believe there is more details about that in the comments box on one of the other videos I did about installing this receiver, or perhaps testing it, I don't remember. But there's a chip that should have had a heat sink and did not, and so it runs too hot, and from what I was told, it will consistently, inevitably fail. So what I did was, because I take forever to get to anything, so the likelihood of me ever actually going in there and adding a heat sink is pretty slim, so I just put that fan up there, and when I use the receiver I turn on that fan, and I've used it like that for many hours and it's been fine. Okay, let's take a quick break to talk on the telephone. Hello.
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 So, yeah, anything else interesting in the IT space?
Okay, that was actually a legitimate call, which is a nice change in pace. Anyways, so, yeah, I don't remember where we were, but, yeah, so I have that fan up there because there's a design flaw with this particular unit where one of the chips runs too hot and then eventually fails. The correct fix would be to take the thing apart and apply a heat sink, but I just never got around to it. So I've had that fan up there and it's been fine, but I don't have very many plugs here on my power bar. So if I could get rid of that fan, that's one plug I don't have to have held up, and then that extension cord on the left there runs over to there, which plugs in the lamp and the sub. Eventually I have a, actually I finally found it. I have an ISO bar with a 25-foot cord, and I'm hoping that I can plug that in over there once I rewire that outlet to make it correct, and then I can put the power bar up over here or there or whatever, and then eliminate this extension as well, which looks bad and it's just dumb. So hopefully this will improve this setup quite a bit. Plus, I'd rather have a piece of vintage equipment in use and on display as opposed to sitting in storage waiting as a backup. I'd rather have the newer piece sitting in storage waiting as a backup, because equipment in storage is not able to be enjoyed. So, let's see here. I'll move this camera up as much as I can and try to get this down without making too much of a mess here. I really should replace the speaker wire because this speaker wire is very small gauge, but it's not running very far at all, so probably fine. But I should replace it with that better quality analog wire. Probably would sound better. I think that this is digital wire here, which is not the best because the signal gets compressed as it goes through the wire. Let's see how this is connected. Alright, so the sub has... How does that work? I think that this is the sub. Okay, yeah, this is the sub. So the sub, I'm going to have to... Actually, I think I have what I need to fix this. You know what I think I did? I think I cut the other end off this cable and just attached it here because there's a couple of wire nuts and it's connected over there, so we can fix that. So this is the speaker wire here. This is the front. Duh, it's the front. This is the left. And then this one is the right. This actually could have rear speakers. It is a surround sound amplifier. This is the right side. And this is our audio input. Okay, it's disconnected. I actually have two different receivers that I could put here. I have this this Montgomery Ward's one, which I grabbed just because it was sitting in the way upstairs. I also have a Realistic branded one, which is probably better. I don't know what the OEM of this one is. It's branded Montgomery Ward's, which is a store brand. I don't know anything about the OEM. I asked Russ if he knows what the OEM was. He didn't know. He is the largest walking encyclopedia of amplifiers that I'm aware of, so if he doesn't know, I don't know, and it's just a mystery. I've used this thing in the kitchen before, and I didn't like the sound of it. I used to think that it was the speakers, but then I changed the speakers, and they sounded the same, so then I thought, oh, that's the wrong one. Then I thought it was the amplifier itself, so I changed the amplifier, and I still got the same sound. And I think what it comes down to is the acoustics of the speakers sitting on top of the cabinets in that area in between the ceiling just creates certain echoes, or it resonates certain frequencies, and it just doesn't sound good. I don't really know exactly what's going on. You know, acoustics is a very complex and complicated subject matter, but it's something to do with the acoustics of that room more so than the space. So I suspect that this will probably sound just fine, but if it doesn't, we can always try that Realistic amplifier. I like Realistic stuff. It was usually pretty good. Let's get this fan out of here, because we won't need this here anymore. This was the fan. It's a Massey branded clip fan, and of course the clip is all busted up, but it did its job. It worked pretty good for that. Put it over there and use that for something else someday. Now we need to get the power cord out for the receiver itself. Just this one. I've started using Velcro straps instead of the metal wire ties for cable management. I'm much happier with this. This is better. It's easier to remove and reuse. It looks better. Major improvement. Okay, so now the receiver should be free. Gotta finish running this Ethernet wire. I also have a telephone wire up here which I want to patch in. The difficult work is done because the cables are here. I just need to put the box on and terminate it. I originally paid $20 for this, and I think I absolutely got my money's worth. I've listened to a lot of music here in the garage with this thing, and it sounds very good. And quite possibly I'll use it again someday somewhere else, and maybe I'll repair the heat, do the heatsink modification. That would certainly make for an interesting video. So this is very dirty up here, because I installed the wire for the outlet here. I drilled a hole after the shelf was in place, and so there's immense amounts of wood shavings and everything up here. I didn't move the receiver to clean it properly, which I should have. So now we need to do that. I think I'm going to actually get the vacuum up for this. There's a lot of dust. There's dust everywhere in this corner. I cleaned the desk yesterday. That was filthy, and now even the bottom of the cabinet there is filthy. So I'm gonna get Dennis to vacuum out. I just cleaned this vacuum a couple of days ago, so it should be ready to use. I have to clean all the filters and everything. These bagless vacuums are really a pain in the neck. I don't understand why people think that they're superior to bagged vacuums. Now the hose is not quite long enough. I'll have to pick it up when I get up there. You know, I had made an apparatus to attach these standard size attachments to this vacuum, and it disappeared a few days ago, and I'm very upset about it because it worked good and I used it often. I don't understand where it went. It wasn't anything special. I could just make another one. It was just like, it was one of these, I think, and I had put a bunch of tape or something around there to make it fit. Well, you know what I'll do for the sake of ease is I'll just get out this hose, because I don't need the apparatus. This. Really don't understand where it is. I've cleaned up the garage for the most part too, and it still hasn't surfaced. So this, we have a ticker towel, and we just stick this in here like this. And this is not ideal, but it gets the job done. I should have used the other camera for this video. Here's what it looks like before. It's pretty bad. Oh, can I get... I don't think I can get this to go high enough. Try. Can I put it up here maybe? This is probably way more trouble than it's worth. Well, that's not too bad. There, now you can see what I'm gonna do. Or the camera falls and breaks and you get to see none of what I did. One of those two will likely be the outcome. Hopefully it's the former. It should probably be wiped down as well, but the amplifier is not exactly clean either, so I think I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, let's get the one we're going to install in place. I actually think that the Akio one is a little bit heavier. Oh, this one's pretty heavy as well. It barely clears. The backup plan was going to be that a realistic one because it is a lot thinner. Okay. So this is what we're using for the antenna. That's fine. I don't even really need this right now. I don't think we're going to be using the radio much. Mostly play the music off of the computer. I'm also not sure if Billy would get any reception down here anyways. Put that there for now. Okay, so this has, I'm assuming the camera, so you can see what we're dealing with here. So this has some screw terminals here, and it has some RCA terminals there. So we're going to use the, and of course use the RCA. Another business call. Hello. Okay, so we're going to take our cable from the computer, which is this one, and we're going to put this into the auxiliary. Now, I don't know which of these is left or right. I don't really care. It don't make much difference to me. This is not an area where we do serious listening. It's just casual listening. Actually, in here, the volume is more important than the quality, which is not the case upstairs. So I think what we're also going to do is we're going to use these two, or these four terminals for the speakers, and then we're going to have to tack the sub off of one of them. So I'll just get some more, another piece of wire. I'll try to find some analog wire. I think I should have some analog wire in here somewhere. Yeah, we'll use this analog wire. This is technically landscaping wire, but since landscaping wire is inherently analog, we can use this wire to pair with my analog speakers and the analog receiver, and of course the digital music that comes in the computer. So I need a length of this that's long enough. Actually, you know what? Since I can pick the length, I'm going to make this long enough to go all the way down to the floor. So this setup can be cleaner. We'll use this much. I really wish I had used the other camera. This one, the viewing angle is just, it's too small. Stuff gets out of frame all the time when you're doing something like this. I need to put this hose away. This is becoming an annoyance. put this spool of analog wire away for next time. I should really use that analog wire to rerun the 2 speakers in here. Maybe I'll do that sometime. Tonight's not the time, I'm hungry. Oh no, I had this set too high. Not good. So this is the wire that I was using for the sub. We get an RCA which goes into the sub, and then this one into the amplifier. I suspect this was probably originally 2 cables, or it might have also just been 2 blanks I put together. It was 2 blanks because these are neatly soldered, so these are definitely 2 blanks that I just put together for this purpose. So this cable is perfectly good for something else. And this inherently is much longer than it needs to be. It's a waste of analog wire. Oh, at least it wasn't digital wire. Wasting digital wire is bad. This stuff's expensive. The last time I checked the price of digital wire, I think it was almost $200 a foot. That's just not affordable. That was only for 200 gauge. Okay, there's the sub connection. This, I don't know why this has become all intertwined like this. I don't want it like that anymore. Oh, jeez. There is a piece of wood here that's going to prevent this from going up nicely. What we could do is we could drill a hole through the piece of wood. I'm actually very inclined to do that. think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take a very long drill bit and just go right through, somewhere in a couple inches inwards, and unfortunately that's going to make a bit of a mess, but I'd like to do that. So we use, I think that should work. Look at that. Hopefully this drill bit is not too dull to work properly. It might be. I need to sharpen it. Oh, I think it's working properly. Maybe the battery is not working properly. Or it is, but it's not charged up. Cordless tools are nice, but there's nothing like a regular AC powered drill. Okay, we got through. And that got very hot. Not good. Okay, so now we can run the cord up that hole. Did make a fair bit of a mess. We'll clean that up before we proceed. Give it a few minutes to cool down as well before we run the wire through there. Yeah, the viewing angle on this camera is just so limited compared to the other one. It's nice with the other one, I just set it up in the corner, you can see everything. This one, not so much. heck? Okay, the area is clean now. So now as we pass the wire up through this area here, it will not have to be out in front of the cabinet anymore. Much better. We should be able to leave enough slack for that to actually sit on the floor flat. That's the objective. Okay. And then later on I'll get rid of these power cables by using that long power bar instead. And that will make it look much cleaner, which is one of the objectives. Okay. So now we need to reconnect, or I guess connect for the first time, the speaker wires to the receiver. Hopefully you can see this if I pull it out like that. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to connect the sub with one of the sides, because this does not have a dedicated sub output like the other one did. Oh, I just noticed this was made in Japan too. So this is probably very good quality also. This must have been a decent brand if it was made in Japan, I would think. But it doesn't say anywhere on here what the branding is. Okay, so this speaker is this is the right. We'll combine it with the right. You know what I should do to do this really nicely is I should rerun this analog wire to both the speakers and then put the correct terminals on here to make a good connection. For now we'll just wire it, you know, with the wire directly on there, which is fine, you can do that. It's just not the best connection. If I like the way this sounds and I decide I'm going to use this in here permanently, I will change it. I'll have to double check on the speakers. I'm pretty sure I set it up so that the red wire was positive. That's a terrible connection. I should really just be using the crimp things. This is not the right way to do it. So we'll do it this way anyways. I'll just try to make it as best as possible. That's not going to work. I need to just do it quickly. I don't want it to short out and then have problems. I'd like to at least just check it though. Maybe you can I hook this up temporarily without the sub and get a decent usable connection. Yes, my arm is probably blocking the thing. I'm well aware. And this is actually working fine. Put out the sub wire. It's not working great, but it's working enough to test it. Okay, so with that connection present, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and just play some music on the computer to check the way it sounds. And if it sounds correct, sounds decent, then we'll go ahead and replace the wires. Of course, I won't be able to. Actually, I suppose I could play copyright-free music. I'd rather play some songs I'm familiar with so that I can get a good idea of what it sounds like. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and listen to some music and then I'll come back on the video and report back with how it sounds. It sounds as good as the other one did. The system in here just sounds nothing like the one in the living room, but it's not going to. I mean, the acoustics of the room are giving it nothing to work with. One of these speakers is halfway busted. It's just, I think the computer doesn't have the best sound card, plus it's playing off a flaky web version of the music player, and you know, whatever. Like I said, the equipment in here it's more important for this to be loud than to sound top of the line, whereas upstairs I want it to sound good. So I'm going to replace the speaker wire And this is where I really wish I had the other camera going right now. I'm going to replace both speakers. Oh, dang it, doesn't zoom out any more than that. I'm going to replace the wire on both speakers with that analog landscape wire. And that actually, I don't think it'll really make much of a difference. That wire I'm using right now is like 22 or 24 gauge. It's super thin, so it's possible that it might sound better with the new wire because it'll carry more power. It might not distort as much when you get to the higher volumes, but the speaker wire really doesn't make much of a difference, especially not when it's analog. Hopefully I have enough on that spool to make these connections. I think I should. Oh yeah, this is a long spool. There's plenty of wire left on this spool. Alright, so this routes, actually the routing should not be difficult because I can just take the existing wire here and tie it to this piece of wire and just pull it through. And then eventually it should be tacked up nicely. And we'll get to that another day. I'm not getting any less hungry as the evening progresses, and usually the quality of work goes down as the hunger increases, so I don't want to drag this on for too long. Tape. I do. The tape has no beginning. Oh, it is a circle. Haha. Yeah, I really need to take a break for dinner soon. So I'm going to do this way. We can now put the crimp the terminals onto the end, and it'll make a nice connection. This tape stinks. I'm so glad that camera wire is in the way like that. It makes this really super easy to move around in here. This is feeding very nicely, so I'll make sure we get these any twists out of the wire before it goes through. it's here. That was pretty easy. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Oh no. The camera just became unplugged. Yep, the battery is just as hungry as I am. Okay, it's plugged in again. Let's get this speaker reconnected, and I'll make a note that the textured side of the wire will be the positive side, which is the red on these speakers. I think that's universal. We'll just have to cut that part off because it wasn't worth the time to play with it. So we want the wire to sit like this, which means we have to turn it like this. It's not going to line up nicely. I'm very particular about the cable management of things, so I want it to be flat once I turn it over. That's too long. Okay, new connection, new analog wire. Let's get this back up on the wall. So now when I turn this around, the kink comes out of the cable, and it should sit up here nicely. I hope. I had a little bit of slack there for the sake of ease. I don't think I'll be removing these speakers with any regularity. That's that. We'll come back and clean up the wire another day. Only part I don't want to leave like that is this. I don't want that draping over the tools like that. Okay, so now we need to get this wire to come over to here and have enough slack to hook up. So I'll take this back to about here. Now I should have in my supply over here, I should have something that'll work for this. This is what I had in mind. Something like this. Let me just make sure that these. Let's see if this project is going to send me to the hospital. It might. Time to repair the stool again. Yeah, these are a good fit on here. I guess the stool is okay for now. It's definitely getting close to needing a service though. Service and repair stool edition. I've had to repair that stool quite a number of times, but it's still hanging on. And we'll repair it again, because that's what we do around here. I think I have the crimp tool in here. I do. I need to get a vintage one. This one sticks. Actually, this needs very little wire. This doesn't do these types of terminals. That's what it's seeming like. Well, we're going to force it to do this type of terminal. Uh-oh. That looks awful, but it's a good connection. Yeah, I so desperately need to get a vintage crimp tool. This is terrible. All the vintage tools I have work so much better than the modern ones. This thing makes an absolute mess of the whatever. Stupid. Okay, next wire we just need to run short run from the speaker to the receiver, and we still have plenty of analog wire left for the next audio project. Unless it's a digital audio project, then I gotta go get more wire. Not much here at all. What? is this all loose? It's loose as a church mouse. There we go. This crimp thing stinks. And it locks. Is there a way to unlock it? Yes, there is. Okay. It seems like it missed. What the heck is up with this thing? Well, that definitely didn't miss that time. Oh gosh. What a terrible crimping tool. Okay, that's crimped. On this side, we just need to strip back for the connection to the speaker. Disconnect these wires first. Okay, so we have a power bar cord that I gotta put back up there when we're done. Yeah, this Digimicol wire is really not the greatest. This is a big improvement. Alright, I just got the Digilog speaker wire connected to the speaker. Now I'll put the Digilog speaker back on the wall. Just stand on the flaky stool again. Actually, I could sit on this. This table is secure enough. I rebuilt this table. I have to rebuild the other cabinet, and that'll be sturdy too. Okay, so now what we need to do is crimp on the connector to the sub input, which is this. Shout out to the letter H for this equipment. And that's not very ideal. Let's try to make these the same length. Oh. I will try to track down a vintage crimp tool soon. I actually think I have one somewhere. I gotta look for it. Okay, everything is crimped with the junky crimp tool. The crimps look terrible. I could never use that somewhere that they'd be visible, but they're not visible up here, so it'll pass. It'll work fine, it just looks awful. Which is wrong. Your work should look good. So you know, one of the ways you can tell somebody actually cared about what was being done. Okay, so now let me get this wire back. So since we have no sub input, no dedicated sub channel in this unit, we'll just tack this in with the right side, which is this pair. Textured side is the positive, so it's going to go like this. Don't know the polarity of the sub, don't know if it even matters. connect correctly, what I know matters, and then see what happens. The sub is just, it don't need signal, it's a powered active sub, is what it's called. So I don't think that it would really care about polarity. I just realized you might not be able to see what I'm doing. I'll move it in a second. Let's get this one unit, this one connected, then I'll fix the camera. It's not liking having two on here at the same time. I might have to. Hear some? I don't hear it anymore. What if I did one on the top and one on the bottom? Maybe that would work. Actually, I think that's going to work very well. I'm content with that connection. Just so you can see what we did here. Yeah, I'm probably blocking it again. I really should have used the other camera. I didn't think this was going to be as involved as it's become. I thought this was going to be like a 2 or 3 minute production. Well, not 2 or 3 minutes, but you know, like probably less than 15. But that's fine. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra time to do something correctly. Okay, very happy with the way that's connected. Much, much better than it was before. That was not ideal. Get back over here. I'm totally hearing something. What is making that noise? Is it like an echo? It's definitely coming from something I'm doing. I just can't tell. Can't tell what. I think it's like a weird echo of the stool creaking. I get paranoid of any noises I hear in the garage because there's been so many animals in here. I always get nervous thinking there's an animal in there again. It's definitely coming from the stool. Yeah, the acoustics of this room, because of the way the ceiling is and so forth, the sound just bounces all over the place. Let's make these connections. Okay, so that should be all the connections. I like that, it's very clean. That one's a little bit too loose, that's not good. I don't like that at all. Blame that on the stupid crimp tool, because the thing is all deformed now because of the crimp tool being a piece of junk. The rest of them seem good. Okay. One last torque down everything. Don't want to go too crazy tight either. Okay. It's all connected now. So we're going to take the power cord and feed this down through the hole and leave the slack up here in the back. The slack for this also sits up here in the back, out of sight. And the slack for the audio in, the Digilog in audio, also sits in the back. Okay. I think we're ready to put it into place. Oh, some of that was out of frame. It's a no budget production. I do the best I can. Oh, I should use the other camera. That wouldn't have been happening. I'll use the other camera next time. Okay, that's good. Just do one more check to make sure nothing moved. Nope, that all looks copacetic. Antenna Freak Show. Eventually this wire won't be here, so I'm not worried about this just draping in the front. Looking lousy. Okay. Make sure that's
Sea 7 to 12 feet. Light freezing spray early. Northwest winds 20 to 30 knots. Sea 6 to 10 feet. Saturday, northwest winds 10 to 20 knots.
What the heck is freezing spray? Spray that freezes? Okay. Alright. This is good. This is all hooked up now. And let's turn it on. And I'll turn the sub on here as well. Might have to adjust this. The sub might not sound as good because with the other unit having the dedicated sub output, it would filter only sub frequencies into the sub, and it actually sounded really, really nice. Now we're going to get all the mud range frequencies into the sub as well, which is not going to sound as good. The sub has a low pass filter on it, so we can cut out some of that, but not as much as I would like. It doesn't go quite as low as I'd like. The knobs are a little scratchy. We'll have to clean those out. Maybe, Russ, if you're watching this next time you're over here, you can go through that one while I go through the box fan. Alright, let me get some copy wrong free music. Before I put it up loud, to make sure everything seems like it's working. Seems like it. The two speakers are working. I don't hear anything from the sub yet, but it could just be down too low. Definitely does not sound as good. I'll turn the pass up and down so you can hear the difference. So here it gets really muddy if I turn it up. Back down. Is kind of scratchy too. some kind of balance issue here, and it might just be in the knobs. The left speaker is much more high end to it. Tell me this camera is stereo. Cleaner. I never noticed that with the other either. I think this receiver has a lot more power to it. Making a difference. I don't know if this matters or not. I don't understand audio equipment enough to know the answer to this, but I know that each of these two speakers have two tweeters and one mid-range. Well, technically it's a sub, but it's too small. I just call it mid-range. This speaker over here, one of the tweeters does not work. So does having one less tweeter in there double the sound of the one that's still there? I don't know how that works electrically. I don't know how it's wired. I don't know if it's, I just don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me that is familiar with these speakers, but maybe that's why that one sounds a lot more at a high end because one side of it's not working. That's my guess. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's working for now. It seems like it's plenty loud. The sub doesn't sound as good, but I figured that was going to be the case. So, oh well, it's good enough for the garage. It still sounds very reasonable. It's just not as good on the sub end. So it's a cool amplifier. I'm glad it's in use down here. I had this in the kitchen for a while. I switched it out for something else because it was just too big for on top of the refrigerator. I wanted to be able to put a fan up there in the summer, and this wouldn't allow it. So I swapped it out for something else, but I'm glad I found somewhere else to use this.